Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us. I don't know if everybody's here quite yet, but I'm going to get started. I know some of you have to do arcade, and I'm recording this for those of you who won't be joining us. So I will be sending this Zoom, and I'll also send yesterday's APPR Zoom to the appropriate staff in an email after we get done talking today. So just a couple things I want to discuss with you. Had some meetings this afternoon, and I just jotted down a bunch of my notes and put them on this slide here. And there's going to be a lot more stuff to come your way for sure. So all staff is expected to work. All staff are expected to come to work on Monday. Regular times, regular hours. The staff of Hendy, are going to come to school each day as we have been. No changes will be made in our hours or our days. We're going to be teachers, your hours 7:30 to 3. I'm assuming that Wednesdays will follow the PD schedule till 4 on those days. Aides, whatever your schedules have currently been, those will stay the same. Custodians are expected to stay on their same shifts as well until further notice. Okay, so Monday is going to be the same except no students, which is a lot different, but we're all going to be coming in on Monday as we have been. I sent an email out earlier to teachers. All hybrid B students should bring their personal items home tomorrow. So whatever they have here, hopefully not too much, those should be going home. Now, we're going to have to arrange a time for teachers to get together and arrange for materials to go home for the remote instruction. I'm assuming that's what teachers will want to do. I think that between today and tomorrow will not be enough time, and we're not going to be reaching our A-day students anyway. So I'm going to be arranging for parents, caregivers to come to school on Monday to pick up materials. Or have materials dropped off beginning on Monday. Monday's hybrid A group. That's going to be an interesting day only because these students, nor their parents, nor us, nor we were given any real warning about this. So while you're going to be teaching remotely from here on Monday, I don't quite sure. I don't know how that's going to look, just because I don't think that they brought any of their stuff home. If they happen to bring their module books home or other materials home, it would be easier for you to teach. But if that stuff is not at home with them and they need it for Monday's lesson, we're going to have to do some stuff on Monday before they get their materials. Temperature screenings are going to continue as they have been. No longer, we're not going to need anybody at door 9 anymore, since we're not going to be having students dropped off. So all staff, please come in through door number 1 to have your temperature screened. I'll be talking to Cheryl to see if the teachers' aides who have been doing so will continue to do that as we enter the building each day beginning at 7. More information on all of this will be coming soon. And please come in and please make sure you get your temperature screened. I don't want to be the building in the district that, keeps us in the orange zone for any longer than we have to be. Please get your temperature screened every day. And please continue to fill out the daily COVID questionnaire that you've been filling out each day, those 5 or 6 questions that we have to answer. The 4 food sites will continue as they have been, and the backpack program will continue to accept families. I'm going to be talking to Linda and Jen Isaacs about that. Linda and Jen, you may have already received some information about that, but I have some set to have a conversation with you about that. Arcade is happening today, and it will happen tomorrow in person, and then it goes to 100% virtual beginning Monday. Jen Schendel will send out more information to anybody who needs that. Parent-teacher conferences are going to continue as planned on Tuesday, October 27th and Thursday, November 12th, virtually. As you know, those letters went home today, and I posted it on Dojo, and it should be posted on Schoology pages. And I assume teachers, parents are going to be reaching out to you via Dojo, via email, via Schoology to set up those times. And I'm going to be sending out an auto dialer today, just telling parents that we're going to be arranging for a time for them to come to pick up materials starting Monday. And I'll likely be sending out auto dialers tomorrow and over the weekend. There's going to be a lot of auto dialers this weekend from here and from the district. And I'll give everybody a chance to ask questions and share your thoughts and ideas here in just a couple minutes. Okay, so just a couple things about orange zone status. This isn't anything that you probably already don't know, but in order to move from orange, which we are currently in, to yellow, an area must be at a 2% positive case rate for 10 consecutive days. And from what I'm told, Chemung County is currently at 10%. You may have also heard about the outbreak that happened over at the prison. I'm told that these numbers, the 10% does not include that, that prison outbreak, not an outbreak of prison, but the COVID outbreak at the prison of more than 300 people there. So Chemung County is rated pretty high right now in terms of the rate of COVID. And when you get into a yellow zone, you can't go right from orange to green. I think that must be the regular, or the orange to the no COVID zone. You have to go through the process of going from orange, and there's a 2-week period, and then you have to wait 10 days, and then there's the 2-week period for the yellow, and then you have to wait 10 days. In order to get to the yellow, 20% of a population, wherever the zone is, and let's say the population for this conversation is the students and staff and the families of Elmira City School District, 20% of that population must be tested weekly. We currently have about 6,000 students in the district, and I don't know how many employees. So if my math is correct, that would mean we have to do more than 1,200 staff and student tests, COVID tests weekly. And the reason I'm telling you that is because it seems to me, and this is just coming from me, this is just my personal thoughts about it, is that this is going to last longer than 14 days. I don't see how it can't last longer than 14 days, but hopefully I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I think this is going to be longer than 14 days, unfortunately. And we're going to obviously get more guidance and direction from the district as it comes. So now I want to jump to what we're going to attempt to do starting on Monday, the 26th. I've cut and pasted this from an email that I have not sent to you yet, but I will be sending this email to you. But I did want to share it with you now in order to hear your thoughtful ideas and opinions and questions on it once I've gone over it with you. And it's not too long, so please bear with me. Virtual teachers will continue to plan lessons and push materials to their grade levels as they have been. However, beginning on Monday, hybrid teachers will start to teach their rostered students. That means anybody on your roster who's cohort A, cohort B, or 100% virtual, and you're going to be following your daily in-person teaching schedules. That's not your Wednesday schedules, that's your Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday schedules. Now these schedules can eventually be adjusted and changed if necessary, and I'm going to show you I said see third grade example below. That's not below, it's on the next screen or on one of the next screens. Reading teachers will work with small groups as assigned and assisted with any testing proctoring for NWEA or HMH Read 180. That is still outstanding. Keith and Jess have done a great job to work with you all to set up schedules, and I want that to continue virtually. And they'll also support Zoom times if possible, if teachers require additional support. When I show you this schedule here in a minute, you'll see that I've added an afternoon time. Grade levels will also offer additional times in the afternoon to Zoom with students for those who need feedback or missed the original synchronous learning. I'll show you the example schedule here in a minute. And special area classes will happen at the times they are currently on the in-person schedule. Special area teachers will meet live via Zoom with all students in a class, cohort A, cohort B, and 100% virtual. If you read Mrs. Lawrence's email last night, That's the model we're going to follow for all special area classes. I do have to sit down and talk to special area teachers, of course, and we may just have to have special area teachers come into classrooms and click on the Wednesday Zoom button on Monday before we can get Zoom buttons rearranged and changed. And again, let me just tell you that all this information will be sent to you in an email, so don't worry, you'll see it again soon. More, Courtney Reese is going to assist teachers with removing buttons that don't mean anything at this point, and using Wednesday buttons for Zoom links. So let's presume that on Monday, when you come to school and you live Zoom with your students, you'll be using your Wednesday button because that's the button that connects you directly with your students. Special education teachers are now going to partner with hybrid teachers as they do in person to provide online services. Special education teachers will now join the Zoom meetings of their students based upon homeroom rosters instead of working in Zooms with virtual teachers. That means that the consultant teachers are going to be joining your live Zooms. Now, we don't have too many, if any, can't really think of it at the moment, grade levels here who have special ed students in more than one classroom. There might be special ed students who have other services, but not consultant services in more than one classroom. But if we get to the point where we have students in more than one classroom who receive consultant services, we're going to combine those students for Zoom meetings so the special ed teacher can see them all at once. Both general education teachers will use the same Zoom so that the special education teacher can join them and support all students on their caseload with their general education peers. And obviously we're going to have a conversation about that. The next two bullets are sort of sub bullets of that, talking about making sure that there's enough staff around, staff in the Zooms rather, to support the needs of the general education and special education students in a live Zoom class. And aides are going to be trained, and I know our aides are doing a great job. They've already been in Schoology, they've already been in Zoom, but there's going to be available trainings for them if necessary, so they can be added to Zoom meetings to support virtual instruction as they do in-person instruction during class times. I'm also going to look into how we can have aides supporting our special area teachers. You know, special area teachers, if you're seeing a group of 24 kids, there's a possibility of having another staff member in there to manage those students. Now, the next slide is a schedule. What it is, it's what the third grade teachers have sent me. I plan to do this for each grade level. Just take a look at this quickly, kind of absorb it. Like I said, I'll be sharing this. What you're seeing here is what a daily in-person schedule looks like for our third grade teachers. And we've got the times broken down there on the left-hand side. We've got the teachers going across the top. You'll see my morning announcements between 8 and 8:15. It just so happens that third grade, their special area class is from 8:15 to 8:55. Your grade levels, 4th, 5th, and 6th, your schedules will look different based on when your special area classes are and when you do all of these things throughout the day. Please note that I've included the lunch time in here for Monday. Like I said, I've just taken this from what third grade sent me. And you know, students will need to eat lunch and all that stuff during the day. So for Monday, I'm hoping and expecting that each grade level will follow these, your daily schedules. And then as we move through next week, we'll be able to adjust things if necessary, when necessary, to make these changes. And then the last piece here on the third grade schedule, you can see from 1:45 to 2:15, I changed that from, you know, end of the day meeting to connect with families. I moved their afternoon meeting up from 1:20 to 1:40. Again, I want to make sure that our Monday schedule looks as much like it has been during in-person instruction here. And we can change these as we move through the week, as I said. So now I'm going to make everybody else visible to me on your screen, on my screen. And none of you are, I haven't muted any of you on purpose. So if anybody has any questions or comments, unmute yourself. And
Mark, I have a question. I always have questions.
hi, Amy. No, that's, who's that?
Laura.
Hi, Laura.
We're all in her room. So it says ELA Flex. Are we having the kids bring home their real books then tomorrow? And during that time, we're supposed to do that lesson? Or are we just wanting the kids to log in to Read 180 and System 44 during that ELA Flex time?
Tomorrow or Monday?
Monday.
Monday.
Like, and for their virtual, like, what is the expectation for ELA Flex?
Hey, Keith or Jess, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Because I mean, I feel like they'd get more bang for their buck if they're using the virtual program, because we have so much data supporting it, and the real books then would, because we have kids without real books, and I don't know.
Do we have enough real books to give to all of our kids?
There's enough real books in the classrooms now for kids. There's this obvious fear of them not coming back after this is over.
So maybe
and they're expensive.
So maybe we do the virtual piece for next week and we work out a plan and see how it looks.
This is Courtney. I would say make sure they're doing the software.
Okay.
Yes.
For now, make sure of that, because that would be the main piece, like Laura, like you said, and then we'll figure out the real books. And then if we can get some online pieces too, because we do want to encourage those kids to use the Schoology and the online pieces first.
So then, like, for this schedule, just for this example, it says lunch break and then read aloud and then ELA Flex. So for that ELA Flex time, we would just tell the kids, can you guys, for the next 20 minutes, please log in to System 44 or Read 180, and then I'll check back in with you for math.
I mean, yeah, so you're saying that would be an asynchronous part of the day?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for asking the question. Courtney, go ahead.
Laura, I was going to add on to that. It would almost be almost like how we've been doing our NWEA testing. You know how they minimize their Zoom even, and then they could go on and do the software. And then we're here if they want to shout out to us or need any help or a question, but at least then maybe they are more structured and they know that this is the time to sit at my computer.
Yep, that's a good idea, Shelley. One of my thoughts and concerns is that, you know, with all of our kids at home, you know, the kids who are here, we know that they don't always log on when they're not here. So my point was, you know, making, like you said, Shelley, making sure it's as structured as possible. But my fear is that we're just not going to have as many kids online when we need them to be there because they don't have a device or because they're not going to be with somebody who's going to be able to help them get on a device. So
sharing devices. They have to share a device with siblings.
So, you know, a lot of the work next week is going to be reaching out and connecting with families. And I'm going to be speaking to, you know, each group of staff here based on your role. And, you know, it's going to be imperative that we reach out and reach out to and connect with as many families as we can. You know, if anybody asks you about devices, and I know many people have been asking, we're not getting those until at least sometime in November. We're not getting them by November. The last thing I saw was we're getting them in November. And so we're not going to be getting devices for, let's say, a month. Mrs. Novitsky.
Okay, so I'm just checking, but when I'm looking at this, so we're basically going to be sitting at our computer the entire day.
Yeah. Or, you know, if you're able to walk around and do it, I suppose, but it's going to be very similar to a day of teaching, you know, during, you know, you will have a prep and we are going to be offering them a lunch. So, yeah.
So how do the Nearpod videos even come into play then? Why would Diane even make Nearpod videos if we're going to be teaching during our blocks?
Well, we're going to have plenty of students who are not going to be live. We're not, I mean, I don't know what the numbers are at this point, what they're going to be at this point, but you know, it would be great if we got to the point where we didn't have to produce any more Nearpod videos because all the students were logging in synchronously.
I have another question. So if we are teaching, how are the kids turning in work then? Because the Nearpod lessons or the
Right.
class kick lessons are where they turn in assignments. But if we're supposed to be teaching, like, do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, so the
Yeah.
way the lessons are set up virtually is that the virtual teachers are giving them time and places to enter their stuff digitally. But
Okay.
if we're teaching during that time,
Right.
like, are we supposed to use the Nearpod and then the class kick things to teach them and have them then submit their answers into there?
So Mark, I
Go
think
on.
I'm going to answer Laura's question for her. So
Yeah.
if, like you're saying, like we have all these kids who aren't going to get on, they would go ahead and do everything virtually like they normally would if they don't get on. However, if my fourth grade team teaches a lesson for ELA, they can still get on and do all the work on that Nearpod lesson.
How can they have both up at the same time?
They won't. You're going to have to either have them split screen it or you're going to have them do it afterwards. You're basically just teaching a lesson, but then the math, if they teach the problem set, they can do it in the book and then do the homework online.
But
That's-
why would we even have them have materials? Like, why would we even worry about the book when we have everything right there online already and that's what they're used to? Why would we change it? It doesn't make sense.
I mean, if we don't need the books, then, you know, that's one less thing for them to have to come and get. But we are going to have the discussion about, there is still a percentage of our students who are not connected at all virtually. So as we did in the spring, it'll be hopefully much smaller in the scope of the materials we have to produce, but we will have to produce some paper materials for our students who don't have any devices or a connection to the internet. But no, but back to your point, Summer, I don't know. I mean, if we don't need to hand out
I think that
module
it's like
books,
it's a difficult to think about. Once you offer that the kids can use a book and that they have materials in front of them and that they can just
right,
sit there and do, we won't get anything online.
Right.
And we need the kids to be on virtually. We don't have the technology, but we're expecting them to sit on Zoom for 7 hours out of the day. Like, that is a big, like, I think there has to be a little bit of a balance.
well,
And
and
if I-
we can certainly, like I said, you know, looking at the way that the third grade schedule is here, we can certainly adjust and change it to meet the needs of the students and meet your needs as well. But, you know, we have to see how it looks on Monday and who's engaged and who's not engaged, and do that first. So absolutely, I mean, I assume that we're gonna make some changes based on how it looks beginning next week.
To bounce off of what, can I add on to what Summer was saying?
Go ahead.
To bounce off of that, the kids that are getting the workbooks, you said would be getting them because they don't have access to technology. But if the point is they're supposed to be zooming into our sessions and they have the technology, so having the books in front of them without a teacher isn't really going to do anything for them. So I feel like it's just an added step in the process that's going to make it complicated.
Can
Yeah.
I get a list of the kids who do not have virtual capabilities? Because I'm sending out assignments and they might not be turning anything in, but I don't know
Yep.
that they don't have it.
And I know that Mary Fran, you grabbed the list like from me today, but I'll talk to Mary Fran and Cheryl, make sure I share a list of the kids with no
Sorry.
devices.
The other thing is, I know that there's something about a button for Zoom. I've sent out Zoom links before, like back in the spring,
Mhm.
but I don't know how to put that button on for kids to use. So like for Monday, if I don't have a button yet, should I still send out a Zoom link or not?
Well, you know, I'm wondering if you special area teachers can't maybe possibly go to one of the grade level classrooms and use that Zoom button, or possibly get linked into the Zoom, join the teachers daily Wednesday button from your room if possible.
Or maybe we can create your own button like the art button.
We'll certainly be able to create other buttons, but I don't think we're going to be able to get that done by Monday. But yes, definitely we'll
So,
be creating.
Gretchen, I can help you with that.
And we have lots, Courtney can help and lots of people can help, but you know, again, we're gonna have to do this step by step. Mrs. Gromer, did you have something to say?
Well, I mean, I don't want to take up a lot of time with it, but we will have to have this conversation because the kids, like Mrs. Presser's class, won't know on Monday to come to music. I mean, we can set up a reoccurring Zoom meeting ourselves. I mean, special areas can, you know what I mean? But I think somehow we're gonna have to get that information to the kids, so all
Send it out
Mrs.
to them
Presser's
to
class
all.
knows Monday they have to come to music. You see what I'm saying?
So can I add in?
I sent mine out to my Monday groups today. That's why I'm a little concerned about the button and the link, because I just thought I was sending them a link, and now I know.
So Gretchen, you sent the Monday group students an asynchronous thing?
I sent them a notice that I would be sending them a link
Okay.
for Monday. I haven't sent the link yet.
So if you guys just join our Zoom meeting, we can make you the host of it, and then you can do it from your room, so you wouldn't have to come to us for it. You would just take over the Zoom by yourself, but you would have to click on our Wednesday Zoom button and join, and then we can add you.
Yeah,
That would be
exactly.
great, because
That would
sometimes
be
I want
better.
to use the document camera if I can, that I have here.
Yeah, that would be better for us to be able to Zoom
Good
from our
idea,
room.
Emily.
Thank you. That's what I was just gonna say. Good job, Courtney.
Okay, what else?
Mark, can I jump in for technology for a real quick?
Yep.
The list that we have for students that are on I want list, it's the list that they need a device and want a device, is different than the list of the students who don't have a device and never were put on that list yet. So the list we have is smaller than the needs that we need. Okay. Also, we have one device for 5 children in the house or 4 children in the house. How are they going to do 7 hours per child with one device?
So, which is why we're
So
gonna,
that's a lot of things we need to think
we're
about.
gonna have to continue to post the Nearpods and the Class Kick. So those can be done asynchronously, because you're right. We have families with
Yeah,
3 kids.
I know I have 15 of them so far.
Mark,
But remember the Zoom, the only times that they're live during those Zoom times. Like they're not sitting in front of a Zoom for like 7 hours. You know what I mean?
Well, Courtney, the way I have the schedule here in front of the in front of the teachers is
Different.
It looks like that.
Oh, okay, then.
No, but I mean, well, what do you? I mean, and obviously we'd have to change it, but you know.
Well,
go
could
on.
we just become the virtual teacher? Like what,
Right.
for example, what Diane does now? Why don't we just take over the virtual teacher role? The virtual teacher continue to push to the classroom teacher, and then the kids won't have a new schedule, and we won't be, we can make up for those impersonal Nearpods and things by our afternoon meetings, connecting with families.
Yeah.
I guess that's the way I understood it too, was
So Shelley,
we don't want it to look different from the kids' perspective. Like the kids, we want it to be as seamless for the children as possible.
So you're saying we're going to follow the virtual teacher's daily schedule?
Yep, like the 3rd grade
Yeah.
teachers become Diane. Diane has no more contact with the kids. We just do what Diane's been doing all day. And like, on Amy's team, every teacher does what Amy's been doing. So the schedule is the same, and it takes a load off the classroom teacher because she's just pushing it to us. So she's like, for us, and we're
Right.
just.
Okay,
And then this,
we can do that.
right.
If I was just wondering, like, it's Lindsay here. I was just
Lindsay.
wondering if I can take off my teacher hat for a second and put my parent hat on.
Yeah.
Because I've got 4 in the district and I don't have 4 computers at home, and when we shut down in the spring, it was different because so many parents were not working and they were home with their children. And that's like not the case now. And I think if we're going to expect these kids in the first schedule that was presented about really expecting them to be on all day long, I think that's setting us up for failure.
Okay, let's change that and do what was suggested about going along with what the virtual teachers are doing on a daily basis.
Okay.
Mr. Novisky likes that.
Okay.
That's a very good idea.
Question.
All right.
Dale just mentioned, he came in my room. He wasn't sure how to ask a question from his end for some reason. he's concerned about Wednesdays because the special teachers don't have any classes on Wednesday. So we don't know like what happens with like a break for regular teachers on Wednesday, or if we're going to start doing a class or something.
Okay, we can work on that. We can actually go back to what in a special area, special class schedule used to be, with, Miss Presser's class had art every Monday, and then gym every Tuesday, and library every Wednesday, et cetera. We can go back to that kind of schedule too. And then we'll have to go ahead and change so then the classroom teachers will then teach what the same schedule that the virtual teachers have been doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That makes much more sense. What else? Come on, you guys are coming up with great ideas.
Okay, well,
But
is the virtual teacher teaching during special area time though? So
Well,
that's the other issue.
that is a question. Yeah.
Right, because of the virtual teachers, right, so, yeah.
So
I'm gonna ask virtual teachers to share with me their most up-to-date schedules, and then we'll take a look at those and see where we can, then we can build our special area class schedule around that.
Oh, Mark, can I just say one quick thing?
Go ahead.
So every grade level looks a little bit differently though.
Yep.
Because we do send home books with our kids. And we can, that's all I want to say is it just looks different for everybody.
You do what with your kids?
Can I just piggyback on what Catherine's saying? Because initially I was like, don't send home those module books. I don't want that nightmare of the spring. Just what you were saying, Summer. You want them to submit it electronically. After having this experience thus far, there is definitely value to sending home module workbooks. And I think that really piggybacks on what Jay Hillman's email was speaking about last night. You cannot allow technology to become an obstacle to the student's learning. And what we're finding is when they're Zooming with you, it's really difficult. Like teachers might choose to teach live and do what they do every day in their classroom. They might really not want to do what's loaded for asynchronous learners because those lessons are designed for asynchronous learners. They're not designed for a classroom teacher to deliver instruction for an hour. Does that make sense? So you might choose to say, I'm going to teach ELA just the way I have been. I'm going to shoot up my power, my flip chart. I'm going to be doing that. And the kids are going to be doing just what they do in the classroom, which is work out of their module book. And we've gotten permission from Jay.
So that's what I wanted to say.
And again, another benefit of that is that kids might not have devices for them to submit work on, but tons of them have their cell phones. So they can, with that, they can still Zoom you. So they have you on Zoom, they can watch, they can listen, and they can work in their module book.
And that's how we do it, Mark. So at that Zoom time when Amy's Zooming, we can actually meet with our classroom kids and we can do the math lessons at the very same time, but we are doing the math lessons with all the grade, at the same time, but they're working in their module books. And the same goes for ELA.
Yep.
So, and not in Jay's email from yesterday about those students who don't have access to technology, but, it's been made very clear that we are only accepting, assignments to be turned in via Schoology. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but, we're not going to be, if a kid has a module book at home, the expectation is that she or he is completing the assignments and turning them in via Nearpod or ClassKick or whatever it is to do. Is that correct?
I think that's changed a little bit, Mark, with the new Danielson's rubric, that we're finding that technology is becoming an obstacle to some of the students' learning, and we can't allow that to happen. So if you have a student who really can't write in ClassKick and solve those math problems, because I'm going to tell you it's pretty challenging, especially if you don't have a touch screen device, you're going to allow them to do their work in their module book and submit that module book to you. Now, the way to kind of catch back on that is that they can then submit their exit ticket in Schoology. And one problem is a lot better than a whole module work, like a whole lesson.
Wait, so just so I'm clear here, you guys haven't been like receiving photographs of module books, right? So as far as assignments that are graded, that are turned in, those are all still being turned in. As of today, they're all still being turned in via Schoology, right?
Virtually, yes.
Yeah, so what am I missing here about the working in the module?
So Mark, this is Beth. I don't know why my camera's not working.
Okay.
I've been working with Amy Finnerty, and she made me a spreadsheet that has every teacher's class. And at certain points during her Zoom, she will ask them to show me their module book to prove that they're working. So as she continues to teach, they'll hold their book up and I go through the screen and mark down that yes, they are participating with her.
Okay. I see. Okay, thank you. But we're not going to be accepting assignments from the paper books. Correct. Okay, thank you. All right, what else, guys? Anything else?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
So, you know, in the classroom, our blocks are an hour. So if we're zooming with as the virtual teacher schedule, so we're zooming for an hour. So that's 30 minutes of math and 30 minutes of ELA. So we're obviously not getting in an entire lesson. So we're expecting that all the kids are doing like their direct instruction via some kind of technology because the half hour that we're with them is guided practice. So where is, I guess, the direct instruction of the content if we're only zooming for an hour?
Kristen, that depends on how your virtual teacher set up. Like I teach for an hour of ELA and I teach an hour of math. So it just depends on how your virtual teacher is set up, you know?
Yeah, third grade doesn't do a half hour. Third grade does 45 minutes and I'd be happy to do an hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I actually do 45 minutes with a set of kids, and then I do 45 minutes with another set of children with Jolene. So it's not like I'm doing 45 minutes of ELA with my group of kids, and then I turn around and I do 45 minutes of virtual with Jolene and her kids. So I'm taking 3 classes at one time, and then the next time I'm taking 2 classes because of this special ed piece that's there. So actually I'm teaching a lot during the day.
So I mean, that's just kind of, so I don't know, maybe that's just, so that's a conversation then in 6th grade we need to have, I guess. It seems like it's a 6th grade issue.
I think it's just going to be hard, but we have to do it.
It's going to be very,
So, you know, 30 and 30 is not enough, is what I'm getting. Like, so, but it doesn't sound like that's across the board. So never mind.
what else?
Or Chris.
And a lot of times, like, I'll Zoom with the kids extra if they're really struggling with a skill. Like today, I started at 12:15 and I didn't get done until almost 2 o'clock because I had several kids that didn't understand the skill. So those children that understood it and did okay on their work, I said, okay, you're done. And I kept those kids and we kind of went over the skill again and again and again so that they could understand it.
Hey, Keith and Jess, based on the schedules that you shared with me for, you know, when you're going into classrooms to work with tier 2 students, you'll be able to continue to do that?
Yeah, I mean, if we follow the virtual schedule, it gets a little bit harder than it does the classroom schedule, but we can look at that and try to figure that out. But because Jess and I are on 2 different schedules right now because of Zooming with kids too. So, but I'm going to come down and see you and I show you that schedule real quick afterwards, but I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I have it here somewhere, the one for you and the one for Jess.
Yeah.
And right. And I know that was where there was going to be an issue with it being following the Zoom or the daily in-person schedule versus the virtual teacher schedule.
Yeah. And I'll try to touch base with the virtual teachers tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. What else?
I have one more thing to say, Mark.
Go for it.
If you have any students that are not on the waiting list and need a device, give us their names. Let us get them on the waiting list. Because eventually when they do come in at the end of November or whenever they come, I can put in the order of how many we need at Hendy. I want to make sure every student has a device.
And I can make sure that I ask parents to let us know again who needs a device. Because, you know, I think our list is pretty good, but Mary Fran, when you mentioned it could be the families that they have a device, but they have more than one kid, that is different. Or if they haven't just filled out the questionnaire. Okay, so what I shared with you in the PowerPoint a few minutes ago, I'll obviously change that. And I'm going to ask virtual teachers to share with me your virtual teaching schedules again, so we can begin to look at that. The expectation will be that on Monday, classroom teachers will be clicking on the Wednesday Zoom button to live Zoom with your students following the daily virtual teacher schedule. So like whoever said that keeps it consistent for the students. And then you are not sitting in front of the teachers are not just spending 7.5 hours of the day sitting in front of your computers. And then of course, we're gonna have to take a look at how reading fits in, and then build a special area schedule around that. And then of course, we're gonna have to tweak it about 1,000 times before we get it right.
So we're kind of up in the air right now. Special areas, we're waiting on the schedule you said you're just going to put together.
I'll get it to you by tomorrow, so you know at least what's happening on Monday.
Okay.
But yes, thank you for saying that. And like I said, that's gonna be revolving around the virtual, not the schedule I showed you there, but the virtual teacher schedule.
So can't we just follow the schedule as it is and then you guys just do it just like we were coming to your class?
What do you mean?
Does that make sense, Jason, or doesn't make sense to me? Because I'm just thinking logistically.
Well, it might interfere with the virtual teacher schedule is what I think the problem might be.
Like
So the
third
virtual
grade,
teachers.
Grade is good. Fifth
so
grade is
third grade is 8. What's third grade? 8:15 to 8:55 now.
Yeah.
I mean, we could work around that, couldn't we?
Yeah, because you're still asynchronous. So the virtual teachers, we're going to have our own kids in our classroom, right? So the asynchronous kids, like you're still going to see the kids that you would see on our hybrid A and B days, right? Does that make sense? Or am I like, I could be totally wrong.
No, I think so. Like
fifth grade, fifth grade.
Both groups, right? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry.
Everybody's going to get put together.
Right.
So if we can keep our times for specials and then just change the virtual teacher times for an hour block for ELA, an hour block for math, and then keep the special schedule, but then just make it every day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, assign us a special each day of that week, and then we're done.
Yeah.
Like, so keep specials, make them drive the bus, and then just move an hour block in the morning and an hour block in the afternoon, and then 40 minutes that they log in to read 180.
Yes, and I think what Mrs. Case was confused about is, so everybody in Mrs. Case's class then would be checking in at that special time instead of half and half.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's going to have to all be communicated to the kids somehow.
So that
Right,
means
so they know-
sorry, Jason. So virtual teachers, some of your schedules will change then.
Well, do you want to just go through our schedule real quick? And
Well,
just say,
so.
Mark,
right,
I was just going to send you an email, Mark. So ours has changed and we've already set it up. And so it does change a little bit, but it's not huge.
Okay. You know, as long as we can communicate this, I mean, so we're going to keep third grade from 8:15 to 8:55, fourth grade 9:15 to 9:55, fifth grade 10:15 to 10:55, and then sixth grade. Do you want to change, or do you want to keep yours from 2:30 to 1:30 to 2:10? We can talk about that.
Yeah, the schedule for sixth grade then looks like there's just like a drop in time from 1:15 to 1:45 for questions, but that's not utilized nearly as much. So we could keep it, I'd say. Kathy's not on the call, but I've checked with her.
Right.
But I think just, Mark, just keeping in mind that the kids won't know that they have gym on Tuesday and music on Monday. So somehow you're going to have to get that communication to the kids so they know that.
You can update on their class list. So like I have Miss Twig on Monday. I'm sorry, Miss Presser on Monday. So I just put an update on my Schoology Miss Presser class, which automatically goes to A and B and the virtual kids that are assigned to her, and just said, I'm going to be sending you a Zoom link for Monday from 8:15 to 8:55 for art class. Please try to attend. Please try to have your pencil and your paper ready, blah, blah, blah. And then I put down who I would be trying to send it to for the rest of the week so they could see who was coming up next. Now, right now, I don't have anything down for Wednesday because I wasn't.
Yeah, but see, that's the classroom teachers will have to put that schedule out there so the kids know Monday they have a music Zoom.
I mean, if
Tuesday,
you
they have
tell your groups when it is, they'll know in an update.
But that doesn't work with the schedule we have now. That's what I'm saying. Because we've got presser half the time and presser 2 weeks later, and
We're gonna change the schedule for special area classes to like Mel said, or somebody said,
And remember library, what are you gonna do with that? Just give you a heads up before Monday happens.
because Renee's
Right.
not here.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm probably gonna be 2 people that first few days, so that's gonna be a little crazy.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be adding technology. I know how busy you are, but with one special class probably not happening, I don't know if they'll give us a sub, and I don't know if Ruth Ann Kaus can honestly really manage doing an online course, and we can get another sub, but let's assume that no library for the time being. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Which really, Mark, isn't going to be that big of a deal because now that we're not Zooming all day long, they're not really providing us with a break.
Right.
So if the kids don't get a special that day, it doesn't really impact us as much as it would if we followed an in-person schedule. So
Right. You're absolutely right. So I'm going to be changing the special area teacher schedules to look like they have in the past. And we're going to then make sure we provide within each grade level and one full hour of ELA live instruction, 1 full hour of live math instruction, and then there's the 40 minutes of ELA flex. Is it 40 or 45 minutes? 40?
40. Yeah, 40.
Thank you. And is there also math flex time that I'm missing? Anybody?
Mark, it might be nice to have a drop-in at the end of the day. Like kids are kind of used to that. Like if they have a question from like 2 to 2:30, they can just, drop into their teacher for extra support. And that also catches up the kids who can't join in the morning for whatever reason.
Okay.
So I hate to bring it up again, but given that information, it brings it back to the beginning of the conversation with assignment submissions. So if we're not using with this 1 hour live ELA, for example, and 6th grade, I know at least we have Nearpods up every day and that's where assignments are being submitted. Are we expecting our students to have watched the Nearpods before they come to us? Or are we expected to go through the Nearpods with them and have them submit assignments as we go in our live session? What do you think?
Oh, that's the part of the live instruction, right? So like the other day, even when Kathy and I were like co-teaching on Zoom, we like she did, some kind of instruction, and then we went into breakout rooms and all the kids were on class kick doing the activities live. We were just there for support and prompting. So I don't know if that's.
So from my understanding, the kids are still completing their Monday folder as they would virtually, but we will be extending our Zoom times where we would have a normal ELA and math like hour in school.
So it's the same as, I guess, like when you're like in the classroom, you're doing the instruction and then they're doing, page 50 in your workbook. Instead of doing your workbook, you're doing the class kick link, which is page 50.
Okay.
Right? I don't know. That's just my understanding.
That seems to be how I understand it too.
Sounds good.
I just think as long as we're all consistent, I think that we need to come up with a plan that is consistent across the board so that our families completely understand it. Our teachers understand what the expectation is of us, and it'll be a much more seamless transition. I think the closer we keep it to what they're doing on their A days and their B days is exactly what we need to follow, because that's what our families are used to and our kids are used to. And we can add the drop-in times, like Amy said, that they have available if we follow the virtual teachers, but the virtual teacher schedule needs to be consistent. If ours in 6th grade isn't consistent, it needs to be. If 4th grade isn't, we really need to have consistency, or, nobody is even going to know what to do.
So we have time tomorrow to meet grade levels to establish that consistency. Because I know we have the meeting after school for parent-teacher conferences, but I feel like it'd be beneficial to meet with your grade
I mean,
levels.
the meeting for parent-teacher conferences is just so teachers can talk to each other about arranging, meetings for parents who have more than one child here. That doesn't take very long, generally, and I
I
generally.
have a thought though, Mark,
Yeah.
on that. So the aides really have a lot of flexibility. If you guys could, if you think you could knock it out in half an hour, and we could do a half-hour block for 3rd and then one for 4th, one for 5th, one for 6th. If you had something for aides to do in your classroom at whatever time we choose, they can go in, cover your class, ideally before lunch. But I think we could swing that.
Good idea. So
Well, there's you have consistency in your special area schedule. 8:15 to 8:55. That's all 3rd grade teachers.
okay.
Right?
Yep. I don't know if that's what Summer was referring to or not.
No.
So I think, just to piggyback on what Summer was saying, I think some of the confusion would be just because initially when the district was talking about virtual teachers, they didn't really say, okay, listen, everyone has to do an hour of math, everyone has to do an hour of ELA. Why didn't they do that? Because they really didn't know what this would look like, right? We all have these certain expectations, these certain ideas, but once we put it into play, it kind of changes. So I think the district was saying you need to do what works best for what you think that will look like. We've learned, right? We're now in October. So I think Summer, what I hear in 6th grade is you have small groups, you have smaller groups. So your groups are only meeting for 30 minutes. Okay, so you have 30 minutes of math, 30 minutes of ELA. In 5th grade, we started out in a very, very similar manner, but I just found that I needed more time with the students, and it's only through experience, right? We found out really,
I think 30 minutes isn't long enough. Absolutely.
in 30 minutes, I'm reviewing, but I'm not teaching, do you know what I mean? And we're finding that 5th graders are not really ready to be learning asynchronously. Some can do it, but most of them need an adult to tell them what to do. And sometimes that's not going to happen at home. So just within the past week, we started the end of last week, Catherine was kind enough to take her kids so I could have a reduced number. So I have 36 kids on Zoom. You won't have 36 numbers or 36 students, so you'll be okay. You'll have, you'll be lucky if you have 20, right? If everyone comes. But my point is I think you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck if you decide to teach for a whole hour and it's math and ELA just like you normally would in the classroom. We have to have all of those lessons in Schoology, in Nearpod, and Class Kick, because we will always have asynchronous learners. You have to provide that. But if I were you as a classroom teacher, just based on my experience, I would want to teach these kids just the way they've been learning in the classroom. It is really difficult for these students to go and learn by themselves. They're used to you in the classroom, holding their hand saying, open up that module book, engage. We're going to call on those students. You're going to pretend when you're teaching live, like they're there. And
Amy, that will also increase, that'll also increase they'll want to show up. If you're laughing with them and you're talking to them and you're like, hey, turn around, that's my opinion.
Otherwise they don't know, like, they're like, wait, I already did that. You want me to come? Or I came, so I'm not going to do it. It's too confusing for them. I just based so far, I am finally happy again because I have a whole hour with students. You can interact, just what you were saying, Shelley, you can make connections. I mean, it's just so much better. 30 minutes you're not going to feel good about 30 minutes.
And that's what I think, that's what I hear everyone saying is it's 30 minutes is too short. And I think just from, especially just our team, we have a lot of missing people from our team. So I think 6th grade, just speaking from my, team perspective, we're just going to have to meet and we'll figure it out. Just like every other grade level is going to have to do, it's Amy, I like what you said about, your 5th grade learners, just like, 3rd grade knows 3rd grade and 4th knows 4th. And it's just going to be a matter of, collaborating with your team and making a decision based on what's best for your kids. Everyone's just going to have to meet and figure it out. So, like this whole group trying to figure out we need the consistency, but we also need time to meet as a grade level and really figure out what we want to do in our own grade levels.
Absolutely. But consistency is key. Like you might want to all decide, all of 5th grade is going to live teach for a whole hour and a whole, math and a whole hour of ELA. And that's what 5th grade's going to do, versus just say, go log on, complete that lesson. It's two different.
It is. And I think that, what I've seen here, and it's really unfortunate that this is happening now because it seemed to me that in spite of all of the issues that we continue to have, that it was beginning to gel. And then of course, the other shoe drops and now we're shut down. But to what Summer you were saying, I think as long as we can keep it consistent across the grade level, and because I think that after you guys talk to each other and after you ruminate on this for a little while and after you do a couple things and you're like, oh, wait a minute, and then you see somebody else, things are going to change. I mean, this has been a year of just things changing and changing and changing. Catherine, like Amy said, she went ahead and she was working with her own students for the past couple weeks. And it seems to have worked out really great. When I was in there, she had an aide in there, the kids were engaged with each other, the in-person kids, the kids who are at home. So as long as we can have that consistency across each grade level, that's a great place to start as far as consistency goes. Now, to what Cheryl just said about offering teachers, grade level teams times to meet tomorrow, I'm thinking like 45 minutes. If we want to start at 8:30, we could do 8:30 to 9:15. Or could we do more than one grade level at a time, Cheryl? We could. I don't know how much coverage we would do. 2 grade levels at a time?
Mark, we don't need to meet. 4th grade does not need to meet.
Okay, all right.
I don't think we do in 5th grade either. I'd rather spend the time with my kids. Like, I don't know. Do you guys feel that way? Am I speaking out of turn?
No,
5th grade?
If you go 4th and 5th, have you decided your hour times then you're thinking about? Because Amy's
I think
doesn't
it's
have.
already set, Amy, no?
Yeah.
No. So Keith, what time were you pulling? You were pulling kids right after special. We'd be good
Correct.
if we just stuck to that.
Yeah,
So we're
correct.
all set. Our time works for specials and for reading. So if we just stuck to like 8:15 to 8:30 for our classroom meetings, math from 9:15 to 10:15 for our math, and then 12:15 to 1:15 for ELA, and then that 2 to 2:30 drop in. I think we're good to go. I think 5th grade is synchronized with reading teachers and with special ed or
Special areas.
specials.
Please send that to me electronically, Amy, what you just said.
And Amy Hession, what about yours then?
We're the same. So we decided to keep our reading flex time the same and then just work around specials and that.
Okay.
3rd grade, if you want to meet, you can, and you guys think about it tonight and decide that you needed half an hour or 45 minutes, or 6th grade, or if 5th and 4th grade decide too, please let us know.
Yeah, and the earlier in the day, the better,
Yeah.
because the aides, they generally eat their lunch right before the lunch periods start. And then, unless they want to wait till the end of the day after the last lunch period. But I don't like to make aides eat at like 9 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so.
Third grade can let you know probably before 5 o'clock tonight. Does that sound good, third grade? We'll let you know.
Great, thank you. And then, you know, sixth grade, let us know. And
Yeah, we'll definitely need to meet because Kathy isn't even here, so
Yep,
we'll need to
and
meet.
I think Kathy said she will be here tomorrow.
Mhm.
Okay, she was out today and yesterday. Hey, by the way, can I introduce everybody to Nathan Shedd? Nathan, can you give everybody a wave? That's Nathan Shedd. He's been filling in for Mary Ellen, and he's doing a fantastic job. Just wanted to say welcome and thanks for joining us, Nathan. You are doing a great job here, and we appreciate everything you've been doing. So thank you. I want to make sure I said that. So yeah, so share times with us. Share with us if you'd like to meet. Cheryl can set up aid coverage like she said. And if you could please just send me, so I have the most recent, and I know they're probably the same as you sent to me the last time, but your virtual teacher schedules and where you're going to be fitting in the ELA hour, the math hour, and then the ELA flex. We'll build the special area teacher schedule around that. And then tomorrow I'm going to be I'll find a time to meet with our special area teachers. And maybe Mrs. Lawrence will be talking more at the meeting because she seems to be an expert here about the school year. And Mrs. Gromer too seems to know what she's talking about. Not to say that Mr. Stuckey or Mr. Palmentier don't, but you guys seem to be doing nicely with this interacting via school GPs. And then Keith and Jess, I'll find a time to talk to you as well.
I just have one more question for everybody then. For reading support time, are you thinking that we should probably meet with them 5 days a week? And the reason I'm asking that is all of a sudden that takes our group up to, some of them up to 7 and 7. That's 14 kids then. So I'm not complaining about that, but it's not really that small group setting for reading that we're looking for. So are we looking to try to do 5 days a week? And if you say yes, I'm going to live with that. But it's definitely a bigger group, and I know not everybody's going to come. But
Keith, I'll say yes to that for now.
Okay.
And on that note, Kristen Royce or one of the other consultant teachers, are you going to be meeting 5 days a week with your kids now, or is it still 4? Anybody?
Mark, it's going to depend on how the schedule looks because we have to fit resource room into all the schedules. So we can't promise to do consultant 5 days because we're doing resource room 5 days. It depends on all the schedules look like.
I just didn't know if consultant became a 5-day thing now that we're.
Well, no, it's 4 days on their IEPs, unless it's a 5-day service. Resource room has to, I mean, we have to make sure that we're meeting that service.
Okay. Okay, and then Mrs. Callahan and Mrs. Isaacs, we're going to be talking about reaching out to families, making those connections, because that's going to be really a huge part of this. My biggest fear, like I said about an hour ago, is that we're not going to get a lot of kids online. I hope I'm wrong. And then, you know, we also can't forget about our ENL teacher and our speech therapists, their services. They're going to have to find time to join their students either in breakout rooms or separate Zooms, but they should be reaching out to the teachers of the students that they see to discuss when that's going to happen, like they've been doing since the beginning of the school year. And Mr. Palmentier, you'll still continue to do your lessons as you have been. All right. Mr. Palmentier is teaching me how to play the drums. Go ahead, Dale.
If I can, I was going to kind of keep the same kind of schedule throughout the day. Kids will only miss the same time once every 8 weeks. Kind of hard to plan otherwise. I was hoping to kind of do the same schedule I have here at school, if possible. So that's the goal. And yes, Mark's learning to play drums.
I'm, not really, but I'm trying. Thank you, Dale. All right. Anything else?
Mark, I think you forgot to mention the stipend.
For this?
It's just my sense of humor.
I appreciate it. I was going to believe you. So if you didn't smile, I would have said, sure, Shelley.
Okay, I just didn't hear you mention it, so I thought I'd throw it out there, but you can get back to us.
I'll get back to you on that for sure. All right. All right. I'm gonna let everybody go now. You'll be seeing some more information from me. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can give me a call at any point, send me a text or email is fine. We'll be busy for the next 6 months, I'm sure. Okay, thank you, everybody. Appreciate your time. We'll talk soon. Stop recording.